Always ethical.
Always ethical. Look for smile though. Spirit Breaker Gyro Coddle. A lot of coddle. We've been seeing a lot of coddle. That's that. Yes.
I
Very.
think this is the first Treant Protector game of the night as well, so a couple new faces in this game. It's gonna, I guess, bring our energy level up a little bit. Morphling second game, decent Morphling performance last game out of Paparazzi, so excited to see what EHOME does with this game. And another new face, Chaos Knight. What do you think of him?
Could up the tempo here. Ready to see what the game brings in terms of how they're gonna play this, because they've got a gyro already. So is that mid gyro safe lane CK, or is CK going in a different role completely?
Uh,
5 seconds
we
remaining.
could probably see either. I mean, think about Chaos Knight. He's decent against gapping, decent at gapping at distance compared to a lot of other heroes. You can actually play him in the off lane. He's a pretty strong dual laner, and he should roam pretty well with the Spirit Breaker as well. Between those two heroes, you have a decent amount of lockdown and physical damage, and yes, a bulky front line between the two of them as well. I'd say mid or offlane on the Chaos Knight. Gyrocopter isn't something you really see outside the safe lane that often these days, especially when he's picked up this early in the draft. I mean, running a Lina against him would be even a decent option. Clockwork, a little bit weird of a pick. I was talking to you about this one before. I was talking to you about this one before. Just the fact he felt kind of underwhelming compared to some of the other offlaners that are super popular right now.
And then he played really well. And he played fast paced. That's what I liked the most.
Yes, but that game did end up going on for quite a while. I think we got to pretty late game, saw some 25 talents on Void, massive Chronosphere, and he actually managed to close that game out by getting the Oracle in the back line while his buyback was on cooldown. So
Radiant team
impressive
back.
gameplay by him.
They banned the Bounty Hunter. Interesting ban. That's for sure.
Yeah, Bounty Hunters is something we've seen yet this tournament, but maybe they're just afraid of like over-aggressive potential coming out from Look for Smile. Again, you see the Spirit Break and the Chaos Knight. These are two heroes that want to get on top of you early on in the game, so it makes sense that they ban out something like Bounty Hunter, which goes well with that early aggression. Get a couple track kills for your team along with the Spirit Breaker
remaining.
charge would be
Dire team
real nice for you. This one makes a lot more sense to me. Again, I was talking to you about Gyrocopter being less so of a mid than he used to be, so putting the Leshrac there, along with the early aggression from the Spirit Break, you have a lot of burst damage early on in the game, so. It's also one of the better
10
heroes against
seconds
Treant
remaining.
Protector, because he can kind of bring down those
5 seconds
towers in one
remaining.
push with his Diabolic Edict, when a lot of other heroes would have to sort of chip away at them, so deals pretty well with that living armor compared to a lot of other heroes. So what do you think EHOME have in mind for their last pick?
I think the Lina is going to be 4 Clockwork, 3 Morphling 1, so they could be looking mid. I'm not sure TA's the answer. Invoker. 897 Invoker. We saw it before.
And we'll see it again, one more, possibly 2 more times tonight. So, excited to see some more of that. The Invoker performances tonight have been out of this world, to be sure. Also, I like the little hat that he has on his Invoker. Super Saiyan hair is a little bit too much for me.
It's the house choosing hat, or whatever it's called. The sorting hat.
Sorting hat. Come on, man.
Very Hufflepuff of me.
Harry Potter was cool before it was ruined. Anyways. For Smile versus EHOME. Game number 1. Overall, I'd say I prefer the draft for Look versus Smile. I mean, EHOME is one of these veteran teams. I've talked to you about this a couple times tonight, and the difference between some of these veteran teams. One's just the ability to be patient and play from behind and look for an opportunity. The enemy team makes a mistake, but and they have a decent draft for that. But I feel like they can't deal with the amount of aggression Look for Smile have with their draft. They're just gonna be playing too fast with the Spearbreaker, Leshrac, and Chaos Knight. So could be wrong. We'll see.
I feel like Look for Smile are just gonna run through this right now.
Against EHOME.
Quick 2-0. Here we go.
Quick 2-0. All right. A bold statement. Let's go. It actually is going to be Gyrocopter in the mid lane, though,
Prepare for battle.
and not Leshrac. Leshrac going down to the safe lane to start the game. Full Tango's and Gyrocopter's inventory, so eating my words already. I'm not sure if that's what you want to do against the Invoker, but I guess Gyrocopter does have a little bit of a base damage advantage over him.
Doesn't it?
Have us make an abomination.
We
Maybe
were
you're
seeing.
just,
Sorry, we were seeing the combination of the Clockwork and the Invoker in the previous EHOME series, so I'm interested to see it again. You wound up with an LSA, like, you could get LSA, Cogs, and the Sunstrike coming in.
Oh yeah, it'll do a lot of damage starting pretty early in the game.
30 seconds to battle.
See if Faith is as good as Clockwork is. Who was it that was playing it earlier tonight?
Guevara.
Guevara, that's right. Let's see if his Clockwork performance is as nice as Guevara's. He's got some big shoes to fill, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I would trust Faith Beyond more than I would trust Guevara if I had a choice. And if that's based off strictly what, Faith Beyond is able to do here. I just think he's the better offlaner. Faith Beyond has always been a farm securing offlaner that really knows how to get it done.
I think it's a little bit weird though, being a farm securing offlaner and playing the Clockwork. That's not really a role that Clockwork fills. I feel he's more of like a space creator.
Well, he does both.
Utility, but again, talented player. I'm sure he can fill both roles. Faith Beyond can have his cake and need it to do.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about here. Whether or not he's able to pull this off. And so we'll see what he brings to the table as this Clockwork, and we saw some early kills there from the Clock in the previous series we saw him in. So
Yeah,
how
that was-
active does Clockwork get, and how early is what we're going to compare it to, I feel like.
Yeah, and again, that was up against the Gyrocopter, so they might have been watching that game to decide, alright, we don't want that Gyrocopter anywhere near the Clockwork. A couple of hits here, but
Jinkyu's still standing close enough to get right-clicked by that Leshrac. You may want to be careful, but does pop the salve as they back away.
yeah, that might have been the reason they're playing so aggressive. Speaking of aggressive play, pretty deep under this tier 1 tower is Gyrocopter. Absolutely has no right to be. But I think that was one of the reasons that they decided to swap the Gyrocopter's lane with the Leshrac. Put him over to the mid lane. They didn't want a repeat of that Gyro versus Clockwork lane we saw in one of the previous games tonight. So Leshrac able to keep his distance from the Clock a little bit more and has that extra movement speed to get away from him. So maybe deals with that one a little bit better than Gyrocopter would.
charge all the way through bottom, but no greater bash at the moment. The LSA does miss as Clockwork now level 2. We'll see if it's, and it should be, cogs over the rocket flare.
Yeah. And we talked about this again one of the previous games, the rocket flare. It's a decent ability to secure last hits and get harassed on the enemies. Unfortunately, one of the things it does do is push the lane. So it actually decreases your kill potential in the lane. Meanwhile, Cog is such a awesome tool for trapping the enemies, splitting two teammates off, and dispositioning people.
So we take a look over top. VT Faded here with Innocence. Up against this CK of Dog and Chuan, who was on the Rubik earlier, I believe, who played a really good Rubik game. 0016, I believe it was, on that Rubik that he had played. Played the perfect support game.
Yeah, I played Rubik again the game after and had a pretty phenomenal performance as well. That was the game he started stealing Nether Toxins with the Viper all game. Took advantage of the amount of magic damage that his team had.
Right now the game. Dead quiet, 4 minutes in, no first blood. We'll see if at any point we see an aggressive move in these lanes, but it's been a lot of conservative play, that's for sure.
Spirit Breaker by nature is aggressive, unfortunately. Just had charge, no greater bash at level 1. But might change as he levels up a little bit more. Does have the greater bash to disposition the enemies to do a bit more damage at the moment, but we might not see too much of that come out until he hits level 5 or 6. Once those tomes are up, we're probably going to see a more aggressive version of the Spirit Breaker. I am not holding my breath though.
He hasn't exactly made
Really wishful thinking.
Hasn't exactly made a heavily aggressive move just yet. Goes after Jingqiu for a moment as I say that. And they'll land the stun, but the battery assault comes in. And I think the Spirit Breaker is the one who needs to be careful because this could be first blood as he tries to run, but one more shot from Faith Beyond to get first blood.
Yeah, and that is one of the unfortunate things about playing against Clockwork, especially if you're outside the creep wave. He is going to out-damage you, and that's that. Even if you're somebody as bulky as Spirit Breaker, I think one of the highest base strength heroes in the game, having a decent chunk of armor under his belt as well. He's brought down by battery assault. Trumps almost all.
Early kill there for, first kill there for EHOME. Can they continue to roll it like this? They've got level 4 on Faith Beyond. Again, the question becomes how much they're willing to be mobile, how much they're willing to chase. Innocence gets back to Invis. Meanwhile, bottom battery assault is used, but they back off.
Yeah, Lesher actually still have too much movement speed for that Clockwork to deal with. If he's not able to pull him into the cogs or the battery assault range for those initial mini stuns, then he can just walk in a straight line and get away from the Clockwork. One of the advantages we're talking about when discussing this gyrocopter versus Leshrac lane switch. So, speaking of gyrocopter Leshrac lane switch, is a little bit weird to see the mid just sitting here for a little while.
Yeah, looking for an opportunity, but won't ever really find it unless they move up a bit too far. The Rocket Flare gets vision. Meanwhile, Morphling top. Touch low for a second. Getting healed up. But the stun. And VT Faded need to be a bit careful, and he's A-okay.
Yeah, that stun out back of the creep. It's a little bit mean there, Chaos Knight. Not sure that's worth 120 mana. Actually, no. You've got Coddle in your lane. Mana's a renewable resource.
And not a problem. Does he have? And this was a different Invoker last time around, right? Wasn't it more heavy in the Exhort?
That is correct. It was more heavy in the Exhort last time. In fact, seeing it so heavy into the Quas Wex, I'm curious why Gyrocopter decided to rotate out of the lane. Normally when you see that happen, it's after Invoker has gotten a lot more base damage and you think, okay, well I can't really compete with Everlasting anymore, he just has too much damage, but opting to do this. Opting to go for that Quas Wex, it doesn't really make that much sense to me.
Especially with how much they were hitting the Sun Strikes and the Cogs.
So, in all likelihood, we're going to see a little bit more passive gameplay, more defensive style of playing Invoker.
I, for one, am shocked as they lose the Spirit Breaker, but Faith Beyond on the run. Blinding Light, stun hits onto the Shrek. Pulse Nova's not enough. And they do have the hook shot if they want to continue back in onto this Leshrac, or maybe over onto the Coddle. They don't even need it. Battery Assault is in, and they get another kill, 3-0.
Yep, so on ends up going down. Unfortunately, they don't end up losing Leshrac there, who is the core inside the lane. It's interesting that Leshrac opted to go the Bracer, but I think that I kind of like that extra bulk when he's playing against these heroes. I think being able to out-survive some of these guys when he has Pulse Nova active might be the play.
Charge over towards
Charge
top.
coming out.
And he charges across the lane and gets hit by the Tornado EMP. Like, I'm not shocked.
This is unfortunate, to be sure.
And you're going to try and charge across the lane like that. You're certainly not pulling that off. Phantasm committed. Homing Missile will hit onto the Morphling. I think they're looking for a way in. And they might find it after these illusions die and they keep the tower.
I think this Spirit Breaker is lost for where he wants to be or where he wants to go exactly.
Joker. EMP again hitting onto the Gyrocopter. Hook shot all the way through onto the Spirit Breaker. There's the Cogs used and should be an easy kill. And they'll try and turn it around on Faith Beyond. They do have the damage with the Rocket Barrage. He'll fall. But how much are you trading at this point? It's going to be the Gyro at least. Rocket Barrage back in. You need to be careful. Stun thrown again at the Invoker. It's only 2 seconds. The Illuminate comes in. Tornado EMP with the charge. Here comes Innocence. Back and forth with 2 health pools in a balanced fashion. This Morphling gets around.
It really is. Spirit Breaker ended up doubling his level from 2 to 4 there. Actually died, instantly revived, and got back to the fight. Not in a matter unlike buying back into the game. And got level 4 swiftly afterwards. One of the perks of being level 2 at 10 minutes was the fact that he got to revive almost instantly. Multiple points into Charge of Darkness is a little bit of a weird build in my opinion, but when you're behind like this, perhaps it's for the best. Being able to provide that solid 1.6 and eventually 2.4 second stun. Popular build on Spirit Breaker I see in matches though, just to max that Greater Bash out first, 1 point to Charge of Darkness, and then max Bulldoze actually.
Bottom tower is under attack.
The 70% status resistance is quite nice.
Structures are fortified.
It is. You're basically not feeling the effects of disables if you have Assange as well.
Innocence is here, but he's not level 6 yet.
Is under attack.
But, they are preparing to take a fight on
I think they're almost preparing for him to hit 6 as this fight is going on. They'll look for the kill, and the gyro cover charge comes out. He'll survive. Dragon Slave is through. It won't finish anybody off. Innocent's still standing here like he hopes to get that level 6. And there it is.
Yeah, fortunately, a lot of damage coming out of the Leshrac. Not much from everybody else, though. But these fights, EHOME are quite happy about because it does give Invoker an opportunity to farm a little bit more. Same goes for ET Fade on this Morphling. Chaos Knight has a little bit of an interesting build. Opts to go for the Manta style first. At that point, you have a lot of mana problems, but they do have the Keeper of the Light on their team to solve some of those for it.
Spirit Breaker, a lot of damage being done, but no finish.
A pretty even game so far. I mean, I was expecting to see a couple more kills coming out from Look for Smile, but not having 6 yet at this point in the game, 13 minutes on the Spear Breaker. I feel like he's kind of squandered how the hero is played a little bit. He also doesn't have boots of speed, so it's magic wand and whatnot.
Dire's
The
top tower is under
hero,
attack.
I feel, values movement speed quite a bit.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It felt like they wanted to do something with this Spirit Breaker when they originally chose the lineup, but at the end of the day, it just did not go that direction. Reality Rift, but seeing the Invoker
Radiant's
can't
bottom
commit.
tower is under attack.
Feels a little odd for me, not having the boots of speed. Just think, your sole purpose on this hero is to move from lane to lane, so you save seconds, quicker rotations, extra damage, greater bash. etc.
Reality Rift coming in again. They will find this CK and get the kill. 897 will get credit for that one. 6-1 in favor of EHOME.
Yep. Which is trying to
Radiant's bottom
decide to
tower
force
is
the
under
issue
attack.
here, do that. Almost look like they decided to force the issue there at the top lane because that CK died in the bottom, creating a little bit of space, but they took it a little bit too late. I mean, they waited until after that CK died, giving time for the entire lineup of Radiant to rotate top.
Yeah,
I mean-
getting 2 from it.
My waters rise.
Yeah, they did end up taking the tower, but they also lost one at bottom, and they lost the mid lane and the Spear Breaker.
Shot. Through mid, and gyro saved by the Will-O-Wisp. They'll also use the cooldown. Are they going to commit to go in as well? It doesn't look as so. This is
Train Protector doing his duty. Again, you look at some of the the abilities of these heroes on EHOME, and you realize, okay, they definitely want to be playing defensive. Maxed at the Leech Seed first on the Tree or Living Armor on the Train Protector.
They might
Couple
find
points.
Leshrac here. They'll TP over 1. That's the CK, but the damage has been dealt. They get the kill. Faith Beyond might die, but that's a 1-for-1 so far. Looking for more on the Invoker. Ulti used, but 897 still looking to escape, and he's got the
Radiant's
help from the
middle tower is
Treant.
under attack.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be able to get him before that does expire, so, and they know it too. So they just end up giving up and letting that Invoker run off. Oh, clockwork for the Leshrac, not a bad trade. I'm probably quite happy about that one too.
Dire's
Yeah,
middle
again, look at the
tower is
lineup
under
from
attack.
these EHOME heroes. These are all defensive abilities that they're maxing out, like the Rocket Flare in favor over Power Cogs, being able to spam out waves, vision, etc. The Living Armor maxed out on Treant Protector first, at level 7, it being level 4. I mean, it's not that uncommon, but again, he's focusing on healing these towers and keeping his allies alive. Same with this build on Invoker, the Quas Wex. Being so heavy, that's like a purely defensive build.
I would say my only surprise is the fact that it's just a 2,000 net worth lead.
It feels like so much more, but again, Chaos Knight is sitting at the top of the net worth. He has been farming the majority of this game. doing quite well for himself. He's actually building a diffusal blade right now.
Interesting maneuver. I don't think he's finishing off the Manta style just yet. As 9-7 will get one kill. Laguna Blade over to kill off the gyro. They look for the Leshrac. Blade Mail is popped. The chase is on. Reality Rift as well as the Will-O-Wisp. Also bringing the charge. They bought back on everybody. The Overgrowth hits on 3. Invoker might die and will fall. But this is a lot committed for just an Invoker kill. They need more.
They do. Buying back on not just 1 but 2 here. They're not sure that Gyro was
Oh,
completely
good
necessary.
stun from the Lina. Now Faith Beyond moving forward, trying to clean up this Chaos Knight. They'll find the stun once again. Jinkyu now dominating. Take a look over at this Gyrocopter who bought back. He's going to die as well. 2 euros gone. And the lead extends for EHOME. And they're going to find this Leshrac too.
Yeah. They want to keep going. I don't think they'll be able to get the Spirit Break with such a bulky amount of HP that close to his base, but they are going to be able to take at least a tier 1 tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower
That
has
goes down
fallen.
and things tipping in favor of EHOME already. I mean, you do have
Radiant structures
Keeper of
are
the Light, which is one of the better heroes at defending high ground. Leshrac as well, being able to spam out the creep wave of the lightning storm, but the game isn't going at the pace that you want it to. Spirit Breakers have very minimal. Oh,
Jinkyu just blowing up the Coddle. And that's the pace you want if you're EHOME. When your 4 position could blow up a support.
oh yeah. I mean, that's the pace that you wanted to be playing this game at if you were look for Smile. But the Spirit Breaker pick has been so underwhelming. He's had a minuscule impact on this game overall. It saw that he was level 2 at 9 minutes. Doesn't have boots yet.
I feel as though both supports have been underwhelming by quite a
Maybe
margin,
players are
especially compared to EHOME.
Maybe these players are as tired as we are after such a long day.
Can't outrun a wildfire.
Like I said, it's definitely a possibility. It's rare to see Chinese games come this long. So I wouldn't be too shocked. EHOME,
Anyways,
all of a sudden up 8,000 net worth. We were talking, oh, it's, 2,000 net worth lead, not that bad. And all of a sudden, a 1-2 punch, and it's an 8,000, now 9,000 net worth lead. Or maybe Kado's not worth enough to move it to the 9,000.
Zon goes down again. A couple creeps might be though. Again, you want to be playing aggressive. You want to be dominating the early game with this lineup that you have. But your Leshrac's not able to get in there. Your Spirit Breaker has been incredibly underwhelming. He's not really that tanky frontliner who stuns the enemies that you want him to be. He's getting disabled as he's going into these fights, and you have to try to save him from the clockwork.
Charge Reality Rift, 3-second stun. They still don't have the kill yet. He'll avoid the call down. Now the Overgrowth comes in. But VT Faded, taking a lot of damage, needs to be careful with the Will-O-Wisp just locking him in. They finally kill him with the CK. The Flat Cannon's not enough damage. Slowed up, hit with the Laguna. They'll take out a second. They'll look for more. Spirit Vessel on the Leshrac. Dragon Slave in. 4 heroes gone. Spirit Breaker next. He bought back, so it's already been a full team wipe. And it will be once again Rampage there for Jinkyu on this Lina.
Oh my god. I mean, that's just a statement to how far they are behind. When you're position 4 against a Rampage,
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
how often do we see that?
Yeah, not often at all.
It's just like perfect gameplay. I don't know, but I'm not sure if you were watching the Will-O-Wisp from Keeper of the Light. There's so much work in that team fight. It just doesn't matter because of how far behind they are. And for all the work that this Keeper of the Light is putting in the team fight with the Will-O-Wisp, I'm not sure if you were watching Spirit Breaker in that fight, but he just kind of walked around, tried to cast Nether Strike a dozen times, wasn't even able to, then died.
It's very hard for him to find the opening, and it looked like they were going to kill off the Morphling at least, like find some sort of anything, and he survives through it all. Clockwork too. I really thought Faith Beyond was dead.
Well, yeah, they just can't quite finish him off. He goes for that armor talent, he's got blade mail, so he's sitting on 16,
Hook
I guess,
shot.
most of them.
Gyro again. Dead once more. And, ooh, Laguna Blade onto the Leshrac, looking for the damage. Here comes the Morphling. Tornado hits. It's not going to be needed.
Finished off as well, just have no control over the map, but they own everything on EHOME.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Here they go, ready to push high ground already. You aren't putting up that much of a fight. You can't defend multiple lanes at once with this Keeper of the Light, as good as he is at defending.
Especially this early on. Oh boy, Tornado again. Hits on 2. 897 might just go for this Coddle and will. And he's dead. I mean, this is starting to turn into a slaughter.
Oh yeah. 5-axe still on cooldown if he has another goal forward on Keeper of the Light.
And GG.
Unfortunately, he does not in
Radiant's middle tower
Wow.
is under
23
attack.
minutes.
A quick one. And just start to finish, EHOME really dominating. I think this is a lot more of what we expected out of Look for Smile.
Yeah, this is more similar to what we thought they would do before, but I feel like they not only were they a little bit off this game, but EHOME was a lot more on point. This felt a lot more like EHOME's first game today. So, well played by them. Biggest thing I'd correct on Look for Smile is how they played that Spear Breaker. I feel like maybe that's something that they weren't comfortable with or they didn't practice enough, but just completely fell on its face in that game.
Yeah, it just never went their way. 06 for your Coddle, 03 for your CK. I mean, it just never got off the ground for Look for Smile. You take a look at the graph, it's all EHOME, and they take game 1 in this best of 2. So, game 2 coming up next. It is myself and Neff. Hopefully, you know, not hopefully. You know, maybe that one's a quick one as well. We have no idea. Not that it needs to be a quick one. You know, we're just kind of over here thinking and hoping potentially maybe that it is a quick one. But coming into the final hour.
10 more games.
10 more games
4
tomorrow.
more years.
4 more years. Bring us 4 more years. Give us 4 more years, eh? And that's what we want. And hopefully you guys get that. We'll be back tomorrow as well. So, you know, it's not just the end of it all. But we are back with one more game coming up next. Stay right there. We'll be back in a moment.